Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are live here Saturday evening here. How you guys out there doing? I see a few of you already filing in. I see Sandy B, a couple of others. Welcome to the program. As advertised, we're going to go over our what I call my final schedule review. We did a couple of these review prediction shows before the season started. The last one we did was at the bye week break. And we're going to compare notes and see how we did as far as our predictions go, as well as look over some season stats that we looked over at the last show and compare them to how we finished in the season. Some interesting statistics I'm going to go over with you guys. And also, we're going to go over the 2022 opponents, both the home and away. And I'm going to show you guys how you can calculate which teams we're going to be playing at home and away after every offseason as well. So, again, good to see you guys out here. I see a few of you already coming in here. I know more of you will be filing in. If you're watching this on a replay, why not give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you get and hit that bell of notification. Set it to all so that way you're notified of the live streams so you can join us live and have some interaction not only with myself but also with the live chat in here. And as usual, that's what we do in our format. This is what we call our rundown. We have various topics that we're going to go through, and then at the end of the rundown, we do what we call our Q&A segment right here, and that's where I get your opinions here of how things are, what you thought of what I put out, and your opinions on the Raiders or anything else generally football related. Hey, Earth Daughter, I see you in here as well. Thanks for coming in as well. So first thing we're going to do as far as the rundown goes, we're going to talk about the poll of the week, and I usually put a poll out every week. Now, of course, season ended last week to the loss to Cincinnati, close loss. We turned the ball over at the very end. Unfortunately, couldn't tie the game. And, of course, the poll of the week would reflect that. I asked, what's the most important area of the franchise that we need to focus on as far as 2022 offseason? And overwhelmingly, you guys said personal development, or personnel development, rather. And, you know, that basically is either get a top GM, a top director of player personnel. And I have to agree with you wholeheartedly. Now, if we had our way in dreamland, so to speak, I would say get rid of this guy right here, because ultimately he was the cause of a lot of the problems, a lot of the hirings, and that flew down. But hopefully he can hire a team to actually make the decision on getting the top guy in here. And then this top guy can get a good head coach, a good staff going, and then we can draft good players and everything's going to flow down from there. Hey, Israel, I see you in the chat as well. Welcome to the program. We just started with the poll of the week, and I just wanted to go over what you guys had to say about that, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. So let's get right on to the next topic I want to talk about. And now, I called it stats through 17. Now, if you recall my last program here, we did a live stream during the bye week after our first 7 games. And one of the subjects I had was called Stats Through 7. So I went over some team stats here through the first 7 weeks and kind of talked about the good and the bad with those. So I'm going to revisit those and just show you those right here. But I'm also going to compare these directly to how we finished the season. So this is going to be all 17 games. Now, first thing I want to talk about, obviously, is the offense. Now, we were at the bye week, we were 10th rated. We ended up 11th rated. Now, we lost 30 yards per game here. Now, not only I like these stats and the rankings, not only do they show how we finished, personally how we did, but also how the league kind of evolved throughout the season. Some of it makes complete sense. And this is one right here where the offense, we dropped 30 yards per game, and we only dropped one ranking here. And same thing with the passing here. We went from 2nd to 6th. We dropped nearly 40 yards here per game passing. We improved our rushing by 10 yards per game. So this is first 7 through the entire season. So we actually did better in the last 10, obviously, than the first 7. So it's also indicative of me to see this where the rushing kind of stayed the same. The league in general slowed down in their offense, slowed down their passing, and increased the rushing game in the back half of the season. And it makes complete sense. You could have injuries, you could have weather. It's going to be a lot harder throwing in snow and wind and rain and all that stuff. Makes complete sense. Defenses start to figure out offenses as well. The offense should have the advantage in the beginning of the season, but as more tape comes, you can see the tendencies of certain teams on the offensive side and what they like to do. There's certain formations, etc. So that makes complete sense to me. Some of the other things here, though, are a little bit disturbing. The points per game went down almost 4 points per game. We dropped from being a top 10 points per game to 18th. So that means the last 10 games were even worse because this is a combined 17 games here. Third down conversions really kind of bit it there. I would say the last few games we did better, but those first few games after the bye week, the Giants, Washington, for example, the 2 Chiefs games, ridiculous, terrible. Now, fourth down conversions, it went from 24th ranked to 6th ranked, and we jumped up 23%. Now, some stats can be a little bit deceiving. Now, I looked into this a little bit more. Now, the issue I see with this is we did not go for it on fourth down that often. We were actually 27th ranked. So that kind of hides things. So I think we were a little bit, maybe even too conservative as far as going for it on fourth down because we didn't do it as often. So we're probably more likely to go for it like on 4th and 1. So the conversion rate should be a lot higher. And then this one, of course, this one's probably one of the biggest downfalls as far as the offensive side of the ball, and that's scoring red zone touchdowns. So this is the percentage of times that we score a touchdown when we're in the red zone. We went from 61% to 51%. We dropped 10 points, dropped 9 places in the rankings, and you could argue that was probably the difference in the season, especially last week with Cincinnati. As far as the offensive side goes. Now, as far as the defense, here they are side by side. So we were at the break at 14th ranked total as far as yards per game. We ended same. Now, we did drop 17 yards per game on our average. So, but you can see this kind of goes with what I was saying as far as the defense is kind of catching up to the offense. The offense is slowing down, likely due to weather. It makes sense that we should be giving up less yards per game. Everybody's going to be doing that. We kind of stayed the same. Passing kind of slowed down there. Had some issues at corner, obviously. I don't want Mullen injury. Damon Arnett going nuts. Facing kind of fizzling out. I would say Casey Hayward played okay. I would say the first half of the season was more lights out than it was second half of the season. So I could kind of see that. The rushing yards allowed a nice jump, to be honest with you. Nice improvement here, 17 yard per game difference. We jumped 9 places overall. And like I said in my other previews, I believe the last 5 games that we had, we only gave up 100-yard rusher, and that was Jonathan Taylor, the league leader. So I think we did a good job in the stretch run there to get in the playoffs on stopping the run. That's probably one of the amazing reasons why we did get a wild card spot and won those, ended up winning 4 games in a row there. Points per game went up about 2 points. Not so good. However, there's some issues here. You could say directly and indirectly, so to speak. I'll say first of all, indirectly, and that's with the offense turning the ball over a lot more. The starting field position has been a lot shorter, especially the last few games. I kind of noted that. That also includes things like pick sixes and things like that. So that's part of the indirect, but there is also some blame to be on the defense as well. If you look over here, and this is a huge one for the defense. Turnovers, we were at what, 1.29, so that's about average. We were 14th, 32 teams. We ended up 30th. We were the 3rd worst at under 1 turnover per game. We only had 15 total turnovers for the season, 6 INTs, 9 fumbles. Not getting the job done there. Absolutely crazy. There were some times where we dropped some balls. We need to generate some more turnovers here. And that kind of flows into the next one here. That was kind of disturbing on the defensive side. Now, I touted this in my last preview here when I went over these stats at the bye week, where we were 9th in total number of sacks, tied for 9th with 18 sacks after 7 games, which was great. And that coupled with having the lowest blitz percentage. So our front four was getting to the quarterback. We didn't have to add any players. That's a huge advantage. But you know what? We kept the blitz percentage about the same, but our sacks went down. So we only generated 17 sacks in the last 10 games versus having 18 sacks in 7 games. Absolutely not getting it done. Not only were we not winning the battles on the front four, you can levy this on Gus Bradley for not adjusting. I mean, if we're not getting the job done here, either we need to review our technique, go after, take some kind of advantage on the opponent's offensive line the next week, or blitz more. I think quarterbacks had a lot more time in the second half of the season, and this is kind of indicative of it. So overall, we did great. Now you could say, we were 11th ranked offense this season. We were in the top 10 last season. A little bit of regression overall for the offense, not just with production and points, but also turnovers. Carr turned the ball over more. It is what it is. If people want to argue that, they can argue it, but you can look at the stats from the 2020 season to 2021. These are just true statements. The defense improved. We were 25th in total yards. Now we went to 14th. Not to say it's a great defense, but now it's a respectable defense, I think. There is some more work to be done, obviously, with the turnovers, this whole sack thing, and Max Crosby and Yannick played a lot more than they did, I believe, last year, and Max was a lot more healthier than he was last year. So I would want to see that a little bit more. Plus, the interior push needs to get a little bit better. That was kind of hot and cold. So there's room for improvement, but overall, we had a better season. We went from 8-8 to 10-7. Even if you don't count the extra game, that's still 9-7. We got into the playoffs. Unfortunately, I don't think we had enough talent to win a Super Bowl this year. I said that before. We probably could have beaten Cincinnati, but I'm not sure if we could have gotten any further past that. But it is what it is. Overall, a pretty good season, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what the team does in the offseason. Now, let's get right on to the schedule review here. So I'm going to get into this right now. So let me open up my spreadsheet here. So this is where we stood at the bye week. So these were how you guys did. The champions, you guys are the champions here. And you guys ended up 5-2 at the bye week when we did this last. So well done overall. Here were your predictions for the rest of the season. The consensus predictions now. Mind you, we voted on it. You guys voted and had consensus. So you guys had consensus going 12-5. So this is how it ended up. Not as good as we wanted it, obviously. You guys were 9-8 overall on your picks. I was still worried about this Giant game. We'll talk about my picks in a minute. We flipped this right here. This is a loss and win. We had 2 losses here, so that would have been tough to win at Arrowhead anyway. This one should have definitely been a win. That was ridiculous. The Bengals just kicked our butt. This was a surprise. We talked about that at Thanksgiving. Played well for the whole game, and then kind of let Dallas in and had to go to overtime to put them away. That shouldn't have happened. And then you guys had us winning 3 in a row. So you guys pulled that one out. So pretty good overall. Back half of the season was pretty unpredictable, to be honest. So not bad overall. So I'll just go over my picks real quick. I was 4-3. I was starting off a little bit behind you guys at the bye week. Here were my picks, and I said we'd end up at 10-7. We did end up at 10-7. Ended up getting 11 out of 17 correct. Hey Lobo, how you doing? I see you in there. So I did get the Giants one because we do swoon after bye weeks and going to the East Coast. I saw that happening. I thought we would lose this on a short week and beat the Bengals, but it's actually kind of reversed. And then I got the last 6 right. Unfortunately, I thought we would split with the Chiefs. That didn't happen. But they did play well down the stretch, winning those last 4 games, getting into the playoffs. So now I want to talk about the 2022 schedule breakdown. So I'm going to show you not only our teams that we're going to play against, but who we're going to play at home, who we're going to play away. And then I'm going to show you how you can calculate this on your own as well, if you so desire. Or you can just watch my videos and, watch them every year, and I'll break this down. So here are our 2022 opponents, both home and away. I broke this down. Let me make this a little bit larger so you can see my beautiful face here. So I want to talk to you guys anyway. So I kind of broke this down to level of importance. So of course the divisional games are the most important. So they're at the top. Then the AFC games, then the NFC games. So this is how it breaks down. If you ever want to calculate this yourself, the first one's very obvious. We play everybody in our division twice, once at home, once away. Everybody knows that. Then the next one is we play a complete division in our conference. This time we're playing the AFC South. So we're going to have to play all four of these teams you see here: Colts, Texans, Titans, and Jags. Now, the determination for home and away is the way the NFL does it after this cycle. So we play every division every 3 years in the AFC, right? There's 4 divisions. There's our division and 3 other ones. So we cycle around every 3 years. We play the full division. And they do it, the way they do it as far as home and away is the last time we played, the Titans and Jags were here, and the Colts and Titans were away. So they just flip-flop it. So that's how you can know it. And if you're a fan of the other team, Sandy B, like the Bears, you can do the same thing if you look back in the season. So there are a couple little tricky ones to go through, but that one's pretty easy. And then this one right here, not only do we play a division, but we also play a team in each of the other 2 divisions. So in this case, we played the South completely. So we play a team in the AFC North and a team in the AFC East. And that is determined by the final standings. Now, we finished in second place, right behind the Chiefs this year. So therefore, we're going to play the second place AFC East team, which is the Patriots, and the second place AFC North team, which are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the determination of home and away, again, the league does this when we go through the cycle where every 3 years where we play the South. Last time we did this, we hosted the AFC North team, and we went to the AFC East team. So they just flip-flop it every time. All right? Pretty easy to understand. Now, that is 10 of our, or actually 12 of our 17 games, 6 with the division, 12 total in the AFC. Now, the other 5 games would play a 17-game season, and we'll get to this one in a minute. Now, we cycle every 4 years. We play a complete NFC division team. So this year, we're playing the NFC West coming up. So that's the Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks, and Rams. Again, the determination of home and away, they just cycle it. Last time we hosted these 2 teams, and we went on the road to these 2 teams, and they just flip-flop it. So 4 years from now, the 2026 season, 2026 season, I got to count. It'll be back again. We'll be hosting these 2 teams. We'll be on the road. That's how you can figure this out. Same thing again. If you're wanting to calculate this for any other team, same rules apply. Now, they included a 17th game last year, and they put some modifications here. So they wanted to do it so that they didn't play the same team in the same cross division 2 years in a row. Okay, so last year, and it's based on how we finished. So last year we finished 3rd place. So we played the 3rd place team in the NFC North, which is the Chicago Bears. That was our 17th game. This year we finished 2nd, and we're playing the 2nd place team in the NFC South, which are the New Orleans Saints. Now, home and away, the way they determined it, the way the rules are set up, is that the AFC team got all the home games last season, and then next season will be NFC, and they just flip-flop back and forth. So that's why we're going to be at the Superdome playing against the Saints. So that is the breakdown of all of our opponents. Now, the only thing we don't really know yet is when we play these guys, which weeks we play. That's going to be determined by the league. We don't know yet as far as primetime games, Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday Night Football. But this is our breakdown. Just to give you my take on this, you can have your take as well. My take, this is going to be this is one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in football, let alone the NFC. This could be some problems. Is Russell Wilson going to be back? That could be helpful if he's not. The rest of these 3 teams were in the playoffs. 2 teams are still in the playoffs, so those are going to be tough. Obviously, these two teams were in the playoffs as well. We finished second, so we got to play second place teams. Patriots kind of fizzled out with Mac Jones, so it'll be interesting to see how he does in his second year. Steelers, who's going to be their quarterback? It's not going to be Big Ben. That could be an easy team. We pretty much owned that game in Pittsburgh last year. Not too concerned about that, to be honest with you. As far as AFC South, we get the Colts at home. We beat them at Lucas Oil Stadium. It'll be interesting to see if they stick with Carson Wentz. They probably will. So I would say this is a W right off the bat with Carson Wentz unless we screw it up. Houston, what's going on with Deshaun Watson? We don't know. These two are going to be interesting, though. Of course, the Titans, number 1 seed, got booted today by the Bengals. If you don't know that, in the playoffs, just happened about an hour or so ago. And then, they're still a tough team, though. Derrick Henry will be there, and it's at their house, so it's going to be it's not going to be easy at all. We're really going to have to be able to stop the run. We did that pretty well down the stretch, but still. Just kind of looking forward. Of course, we don't know who the free agent, way the free agent's going to flow, the way the draft's going to flow, injuries. This is a long kind of forecast. I'm just kind of looking at these teams. And then Jacksonville, they're usually tough at their house. Ask the Colts about it. They basically knocked them out. Not only that, if we played these guys early, especially like a September game, Jacksonville, Florida, it's going to be humid as hell. That's not going to be a fun game for us. Plus, you're going to see cramping up. This could be an issue as well. I'd rather see this one later in the year, to be honest. And then, of course, we have our division rivals. Denver is going to have a new head coach, maybe have a new quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen with Bridgewater there. I'm sure Drew Lock's going to be gone, unfortunately for us, because he sucks. Chargers are going to be tough, and the Chiefs are going to be tough. So it's going to be interesting where we stand as well, right? There's still speculation on who we're going to get as GM, head coach. Is Carr going to be our quarterback next year? We're going to extend this guy. He's under contract for 1 more year, but who's to say the new regime doesn't want to trade him? We don't know yet. It's kind of up in the air, but I think the team was very scrappy. A lot of injuries, unfortunately. Josh Jacobs kind of came through in the clutch for us. The team kind of got together and kind of willed a few wins, to be honest with you. A couple of those games, Cleveland game, Indianapolis game, a lot of kind of down to the wire type games. Charger game, overtime. Idiot called the timeout. Staley, the head coach. They probably would have tied, but oh well, they're out. So the coaching weirdness continues with the Chargers. So I'm going to look to you right now. If you want me to keep this up, we can talk this way, or just go to our Q&A session right now. I'm going to be looking in the chat right now to see what you guys have to say. Let's see. If you guys want to talk about the season in general, how we did in the first half, the second half, the offense, the defense, what do you think the offseason moves are going to be? There's a lot of things up in the air right now. And, of course, if you want to talk about the schedule, we can talk about these teams as well. So, let's see. Lobo's here. And congrats on the Bengals win. But he's a Browns fan, though. New head coach has a say, right, on Carr? Well, the last I heard about that, and that was about a week ago. I think it was before the Cincinnati game, about a week and a half ago, that Tommy Boy Davis, that's our owner, Mark Davis, it came out, there was an article saying that he's going to decide whether or not we keep Carr. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why aren't you letting the head coach decide that? So again, I think our biggest problem is the ownership. I miss Al Davis. I miss him when he was, cognitive. I knew he was kind of, fading away, Father Time gets us all. But that guy had a brilliant football mind. He was awesome. His son I don't think he has an athletic bone in his body, let alone, maybe some chicken wings from Hooters. But he's definitely, if you've seen the movie Tommy Boy, it's like that. That's why I call him Tommy Boy. Definitely basically just inherited the team. He doesn't know jack about football. All he should really be doing is getting somebody to back him up to figure out a consortium, some kind of hiring process to get good GM or director of player personnel, and then write the checks. Keep your mouth shut, write the checks. Let that guy determine who the head coach is going to be, who the draft picks are going to be, and all that. So I think he tried to do that with Gruden. I think with Dennis Allen, tried to go young. I think Dennis Allen was in over his head. There's a lot of question marks there if you remember those times as Raider fans. Then we had Jack Del Rio, a seasoned guy, and we did pretty well. But honestly, that first year he was there, a lot of balls bounced for us, and Khalil Mack probably won 2 or 3 games for us just by himself. I'm thinking of the Jets game, making critical stops, turnovers, and then the Carolina game, he basically owned Cam Newton. Got that little pick 6 thrown right at him and just walked in, and Cam Newton looked stupid. But then the next year we kind of floundered. I think we went like 7-9. He got fired. He got Gruden in here kind of on a Hail Mary, gave him a 10-year, $100 million deal guaranteed. And like I said, watch my grading Gruden videos, and I break down each year. Hang on. So that's basically my opinion of Gruden. I've talked about it. I even talked about it earlier in the season when he was still coach, how I was not happy with certain things that were going on. It's kind of a continuation of the 3 years. And I know a lot of people are Gruden fans, probably because he was the coach the last time we were truly a contender, a Super Bowl contender. But I think the game passed him by, to be honest with you, and I showed that in my other videos where I evaluated Gruden and the team. It looked like we would be out-coached, not only in second halves of games, but second halves of seasons too. If you want to go back, look at that. I have it in my playlist. If you go to my channel, Grading Gruden, I did 3 years, and then I did a summary. So to me, it's a silver lining. In came Rich Bisaccia, kind of a player's coach, a good guy, to be honest with you. Cares about the team. Obviously, I take nothing away from him from that. If we want to keep him as special teams coach, I'm all for it. But I don't think he's the guy to take us to a Super Bowl as a head coach. That's just the way it is. Then you look at some of the possibilities here. Jim Harbaugh, there's a lot of rumblings there. The thing about Jim Harbaugh, okay, he's kind of like Gruden. He's a hothead, but he's won. He wins wherever he goes. He took the 49ers to a Super Bowl with honestly a sub-average quarterback. I know I might get some flack with that Colin Kaepernick, but that defense is what really kind of carried them into that Super Bowl. But he wins, and he's a hard ass. And honestly, given the situation, and I didn't even talk about Nate Hobbs speeding. You probably heard about that. He got like a speeding ticket again, 110 miles an hour or whatever. I'm surprised they didn't put him in jail for reckless driving. And this comes on the heels of a couple weeks ago where he got a DUI. And this comes on the heels with Henry Ruggs killing somebody with a DUI, going, 170 miles an hour, 155 miles an hour, and smashing into a car and all that. We need a hard ass on this team. We need somebody to crack the whip and be hard. I don't know if it's Vegas. I don't know if it's just the players Gruden and Mayock picked or what's going on, but obviously I think I would lean towards more of a disciplinarian type guy, and then get a young offensive coordinator to come in and be a little more innovative. Greg Olsen, especially in the red zone, I mean, Stevie Wonder could see the plays coming, and that to me more than anything, I know Carr had some bad throws, but more than anything, that's probably what hampered us in the red zone. I still haven't heard anything about him being fired, so I think they're probably waiting on selection of head coach, and he's just going to bring his guys in. I'm wondering if Garth Bradley's going to stay. Honestly, I think he's done well enough to stay. I'm thinking about doing a video on the defense and where we've come in the last year, the pluses and the minuses. I got a few ideas. Of course, I want to do the salary cap video. I know that's a big one you guys like. I will look at our salary cap where we currently stand. Not only that, but the free agents. Now, remember, we had a lot of players that we picked up on one-year deals. So they're technically going to be free agents. So are we going to sign these guys or give them more money? I know Perryman, we got one more year, but guys like Solomon Thomas, a lot of the defensive tackles were one-year deals that we kind of plugged in, kind of mercenaries. Do we want to keep those guys? I will lay it all out. I will kind of guesstimate based on their performance and where other guys are currently getting paid for their positions, where I think we would have to pay them, how much money we'd have to give them. Plus, you have to remember the salary cap's going to jump up this year because we got a lot of the revenue back, and the official word hasn't come yet, but we're looking probably $20 to $30 million jump overall in the salary cap because the year before didn't have anybody in the stands. The revenue was suffered. Understand that the salary cap would dip down. Now it's going to come back up. So a lot of players are going to want more money. We're going to have to pay Derek Carr if we're going to have to keep him. We talked about that. A lot of people talked about, well, how much is it going to take? Is it going to take 30 million? Is it going to take 35, 40 million? We got to talk about that. Max Crosby is going to be coming up, and he's going to want big money. He deserves it. You know, he's one of the best edge rushers in the league. You look at the stats, it is what it is. So a lot of things going on here. Also, I'd like to see something. We're going to have to make up for Damon Arnett. Trayvon Mullen's always hurt. Jonathan Abram, are we going to keep this guy? He's always hurt. Again, are we going to get a new defensive coordinator? If we do, are they going to change the scheme? You know, and if so, are we going to be able to keep certain guys that he brought in? You know, a lot of things in play right now. So let's see. Israel says, what is your opinion about who may realistically be the next head coach for the Raiders? Honestly, it's up in the air. Honestly, I want to see a new GM first. To me, that's the logical way you want to do this. Get the head personnel guy, a seasoned guy, the guy from New England. Honestly, that Ziegler guy. Here's my problem with that. You know, you could say, "Oh, it's the Patriots," blah blah blah. I think a lot of that's Belichick. If you look at their drafts, a lot of questionable kind of picks, to be honest with you. I think one draft they drafted like 3 tight ends in the same year. I'm like, why? What's going on with that? I think one of the times they actually traded up with us, we traded back with them, and they drafted another tight end. I think it was like 2 years ago, I believe. So I don't know. I would have to I want to look at all the candidates and see, but I think that's the paramount. Get a good guy in the front office who's going to make the decision on a head coach. I do not want to have Jim Harbaugh having control of the personnel and all that. I don't want to go through that again like a Gruden. I just don't. But of course he's going to have to work with the GM. Of course that's, you know, it's a partnership. So, and then we have to draft better. It's the bottom line. I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, it was Gruden, let Mayock stay another year. But Mayock's evaluation of players weren't that good either, even if you're saying Gruden pulled the trigger. I mean, Mayock was backing these guys too, so let's see. But as far as the head coach, Jim Harbaugh wouldn't be bad. But again, I'd rather see a GM first. But with Tommy Boy, you never know. You never know what's going to happen with this guy. He's like the ringmaster of the clown show with this. So, any news on head coach? Same thing, Sandy B. No, nothing new yet. So what's happens with Bisaccia? Like I said, either he's going to go away, or maybe they'll keep him, put him back at a special teams coach. I could see that. I mean, I wouldn't have any issue with that at all. So to me, it's the same thing. Get a GM, get a head coach. and then let them decide the rest of the staff, let them decide the players, right? Not Tommy Boy deciding on Derek Carr, giving him a big extension, and then the head coach not liking it. Or maybe we could get a stud head coach or player personnel, but if this idiot does this and they didn't want Carr, then they're not going to want to come here. You know, it's like, ultimately I want to win. That's the bottom line. I think we could win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr, but we're going to need a lot more. We need a wide receiver one. We get back to Devontae Adams. That's going to be a big talking point all this offseason. I think, of course, you know, who the head coach is going to be, Derek Carr. And I would say he's the number one guy you're going to hear about as far as somebody outside the organization, as far as free agency. And it makes sense. Why not get a wide receiver one? I mean, I saw the Ruggs pick. I agreed with the Ruggs pick. I didn't know he was going to be an idiot, a complete bonehead. He did take him some time. He didn't do all that great in his rookie season. Let's be honest here. So, but he was improving. So I think on that note, as far as the production on the field, he was kind of coming into his own, an absolute threat going deep. And when teams didn't respect it, AKA they tried to blitz Derek Carr, and people say Derek Carr sucks. Watch the film. When we had Ruggs and they would blitz them, they were burnt toast. It was over with. Easy touchdowns. I mean, that was one of the reasons why we won that Chiefs game last year. Plus you have Darren Waller, who's a mismatch. I mean, it's crazy. So if you could pair a good wide receiver one with Darren Waller, I think that's the solution there as far as the passing game. And we got to fix the offensive line. Back to wonderful Gruden Mayock, Alex Leatherwood, 17th overall pick. Probably should have been Tevin Jenkins. I know he was hurt earlier in the season, but he came back. He was starting to look pretty good. He looks better. He looked better than Alex Leatherwood has looked the whole season. That's my opinion. And then, you know, everybody, all these apologists for Alex Leatherwood, he didn't do too well at tackle. They moved him to guard, put probably the worst, I would say the worst veteran tackle in the league, and Brandon Parker at the position. He couldn't even beat Brandon Parker out. So what does that tell you? And then at guard play, I've showed you guys in my other videos, my game reviews, where he didn't do so well. You know, bear hugging backup defensive tackles last week. I mean, come on, that was a bad pick. That was a bad pick. It is what it is. So we need it. We need a right tackle. And I see a lot of people saying, yeah, that's our number one priority, right tackle. Then Mayock should have been fired because that was our first pick last year. You know, to me, if you're already saying we need another right tackle, we supposedly address that. Unless Leatherwood had some kind of catastrophic injury and he can't play it again, I could see that. Or something crazy happened, heaven forbid, I could see that. But he just didn't pan out. That's the way it is. So that's where we need the front office. We need to hit on these first and second round picks. It is what it is. So who do you want to see want to leave the team? I would like to see Corey Littleton leave the team, but that is not going to happen. If you look at his contract, I'll let you guys decide. I'd probably just do a straight video on it. But I mean, we could do a live stream, but it'd probably be better served with a video. But if you look at Corey Littleton's contract, it's disgusting. What he made like $11 million last year as a backup and special teamers. He's scheduled as a $14 million cap hit next year, you know, and Derek Carr made what, 19-20 million. So that tells you how much overpaid and that goes back to Mayock. You know, it's like, what are we doing here? You know, Carl Nassib, another bad contract. He did play a little bit better, but he's still not playing up to that contract. Parker needs to go. I already told you guys about how I feel about Foster Moreau. He had his chance. Not only did he not really kind of step up when Waller was hurt those 5 games, he was a real detriment to the team. If you look, the Miami game and then these games during the stretch, no production, no blocking. He needs to go too. As far as the receivers, I don't know. Brian Edwards is still in his rookie contract. Otherwise, he could go. He does not really panned out yet, but it's going to be relatively cheap. So maybe third year's a charm for him. Like I said, I think he has the skills to be a good X receiver, possession type receiver. We just need to see it. Zay Jones is okay. We need a true number one wide receiver. Hunter Renfrow is solid. Obviously, he's an absolute stud. One of the best slot receivers in the league. Defensive side, we need to do something at defensive tackle. I wouldn't mind Phylon back if he's healthy. He's pretty solid. The rest of them were okay. They had little flashes at times. You know, Quentin Jefferson had his flashes. Solomon Thomas, kind of surprised at the start of the season. Kind of slowed down a little bit, though. Hankins looked like absolute garbage in the beginning. Kind of redeemed himself the last few weeks. I think that helped. We saw those rushing yards going down. He was definitely a part of it. Denzel Perryman, absolute stud. Hayward, big time, helped us. Cooled off a little bit, but still pretty good at corner. Now remember that those are two Gus Bradley guys. So the people knocking Gus Bradley, you gotta give him points for that. So Merrick was a solid guy, second rounder. Glad we got him. Another year under his belt will be good. I don't know. KJ Wright needs to go. You could see why nobody picked him up in free agency. Really kind of slower. It just happens. The skills aren't there like he was with Seattle. It is what it is. So I would say at least two outside linebackers, either free agency / draft. Let's see. There was so much money away on bad players. Well, that, and you looked at LaMarcus Joyner. We got rid of last offseason. That was another bust from the Rams, just like Littleton. Trent Brown had a good start and then got hurt, got lazy, didn't do much. And now he's with the Patriots making money, didn't do much. Nelson Aguilar was pretty good for us. We gave him a shot. He got $11 million with the Patriots. I don't think he was worth $11 million. I didn't see $11 million worth of production this year from him, but still pretty good guy. I think I would have rather had him over Zay Jones, but it is what it is. And then we like as far as our free agent haul from this last regime, John Brown didn't even make the team. Willie Snead didn't make the team. It's like what were we doing here? Kind of crazy. But anyway, let's see. We're at 45 minutes in, guys. I do appreciate you guys coming out. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, the mighty thing. And when you thumbs up and when you subscribe, that tells YouTube that you like it, and maybe other people, other Raider Nation fans will like it just as well, and they will spread the word. And that's why everybody says to like, share, and subscribe. That's exactly why. Because if you don't, then this channel doesn't grow, and then, it is what it is. So I do hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Again, you can use this for any team you want. You can use this for next year. It's basically the same. It just shuffles around the divisions and that, so you can kind of see who we're going to play next. So let's see. The year after this, we'll be playing, the AFC North. So you can see that. I'm sorry, not the AFC North. My bad. So let's see, East, South, East. No. Yeah, AFC East. I was thinking NFC North. So it just cycles around every 3 years for the AFC, every 4 years for the NFC. So, all right. You guys have any other questions for me you want to talk about as far as how how the Raiders did this year. Again, we started off pretty strong, 5-2, hit the break, and then the wheels kind of fell off. I know the whole Gruden thing, the Ruggs thing. We did lose to a couple shitty teams, to be honest with you. We shouldn't have lost to. They kind of got it all together and made a nice little run there. Ended up 10-7 from 6-7. Kind of left for dead. Kind of redeemed themselves against the Chargers there. Still, we got swept by the Chiefs. Not only did we get swept, we got embarrassed twice. That's not acceptable. I mean, if you want to slam Gus Bradley for that's points against him, because the Chiefs scored like over 40 points in each game. So, what were we doing? Sounds like the Brown story. Yeah, and it kind of shows, honestly, Lobo. If you get the right personnel guys up front, it kind of flows down. If you get people that don't know what they're doing, then that flows down. And I think that's the case with the Browns. I think Sache Brown was kind of an okay GM, but the guy that replaced him, I think it was even worse. Kevin Stefanski is kind of a laugh at head coach. They haven't had a real good head coach in a while. I mean, it's Mike Pettin, Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens, Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens. And who's to blame for that? It's the guys hiring these guys. They're hiring crappy head coaches, I appreciate it, Sandy. Thank you for coming out as well. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Why were you talking about Harbaugh? Was he fired? No, but he could resign from Michigan. There's talk that he's going to leave Michigan and maybe come to the Raiders. There's also some talk that he might go to the Chicago Bears. He played a little quarterback there at one point in his life. That's a possibility. But yeah, this is rumor mill. This is the off season. Again, we're going to hear about Derek Carr being traded just like we do every year. Is it going to happen or not? I knew under Gruden that was never going to happen because Gruden loved him. I think he deserved to stay, to be honest with you. Not to say he's an Aaron Rodgers, but I would say he's an above average quarterback, and it is good enough, frankly, to win. It's the play calling, it's the coaching, and it's the players. We just haven't had the players around him, the caliber to actually win games. So let's see. Yeah, I heard that too. So, all right, we're getting close to the hour mark. Again, if you want to take a look at this, you can screenshot it if you want. Take a look at it. Go back and go over my explanations. I kind of figured out exactly how the NFL does things. I'm sure I'm not the only one, obviously, but just an easy way to check this. So, again, next year is not going to be easy. It's going to be, at first, we need to know who's going to be leading the team here, both in the front office and on the field. And then we need to know who's going to be our play caller. Are we going to get another quarterback, or are we going to extend Derek Carr? Now's the time. And then we can likely focus on all these other things like the teams themselves, the opponents. So it's just good to see this, though. It's not going to be an easy road, so to speak. It's going to be probably similar to last year as far as toughness of the schedule, in my opinion. And then you want to look at here, the Saints. Remember, Jameis Winston got hurt. He should be back. I would really like to get some DBs that can catch interceptions because he likes to throw interceptions. And we don't like to catch interceptions, unfortunately. So we need to work on that. Put them on the machine. I don't know what. Get new players. I don't know what. We need more interceptions. We need more turnovers. That's as far as the defensive side of the ball goes. We need to stop them in the red zone. We did a little bit better down the stretch, but overall, we need to improve that. We need to score more in the red zone. So whether that's a new quarterback, whether that's getting more players around Carr, more talent, a better offensive line, that's yet to be seen. So I'm going to sign this off right now. We're going to close this one out. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. Put your comments below. If you are watching this on a replay, put your comments below. If I answer just about every, I reply to just about every comment that is on there, and unless YouTube doesn't send it to me, sometimes that happens a little bit. So otherwise, thank you very much. I do appreciate you guys coming out here, and I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, go Raiders.
Something with all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.